What I showed you in the last video is the way I prefer to work, dragging things to the timeline. But there are alternatives. So let me show you a couple of different ways to accomplish the same thing. At the moment, I have my first 4 clips, stand up 1 through 4 in line. I'm going to make a mistake here and move on to stand up 6. So I'll double click that.
All right.
Okay, we'll mark an in point and an out point. I don't really care at this moment. Now, rather than dragging it from the preview window down onto the timeline, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to drag it from the preview window to the program window. And you'll notice when I do that, that a series of choices is going to appear at the right-hand side of the program window. So here I go. I'm going to click and drag. And now I've got 7 choices over there: insert, overwrite, replace, fit to fill, place on top, append at end, and ripple overwrite. These are 7 different types of edit that I could be doing. When I drag it to the timeline, what I'm doing is an overwrite edit. And you'll notice that overwrite is bold. It's the default. So if I turn this loose right now, it's going to insert this clip on the timeline, starting where the playhead is. And if there's anything in the way, it will be replaced or overwritten. I'm going to do the same thing with stand up 7. I'm not going to worry about an in or an out point right now. But again, I'm just going to click and drag this over to the right. And by default, if I just turn it loose now, it will perform an overwrite edit. So this clip will appear on the timeline where the playhead is. But I could just as easily go down and highlight append at end if I wanted to make sure this got stuck at the end. So I can also do the same thing with these 2 buttons here, or these 3 buttons rather. So at the top of the timeline, I have an option to do an insert edit, an overwrite edit, or a replace edit. And all I have to do, I can either click this or hit the keystroke associated with it. So if I wanted to do an overwrite edit, if I wanted to place stand up 7 at the end again, if I click this button, it will take this clip that's in the preview window, stand up 7, and put it on the timeline beginning where the playhead is. Here we go. So now I have 2 copies of stand up 7 on the timeline. If I need to get rid of one of these, all I have to do is single click it so that it's highlighted, and then I can hit the delete key on my keyboard, and it will remove the clip but leave the space behind. I can select the space and delete that. Again, just select it and hit the delete key. Let me undo those. Command Z on a Mac or Control Z on a PC. So it took me 2 steps to delete that, right? 1 to delete the clip and 1 to delete the space. But if I select it, again, just a single click, and I hit Shift Delete, it does both things at once. It deleted the space and it deleted the clip. That's a real time saver. So what about this spot here? I went from stand up 4 to stand up 6. I forgot stand up 5. So we'll imagine I've got an in point and an out point that makes sense. Now, what I need to do is to take these 2 clips, move them out of the way, put this clip down here, and then close the space. And I can certainly do that. Let me undo my way out of that. Undo, undo, undo. Or I can do an insert edit. Now it's important to pay attention to where things line up here. So I'm going to put the playhead right between these 2 clips. That gives me a nice, easy visual thing to aim at. And there's more than one way to do an insert edit. So like I just showed you, I can click and drag from the preview window to the program window and select Insert, which will put clip 5 right here in between clip 4 and clip 6. Let's give that a shot. Clicking and dragging. I'm highlighting the word insert at the top of the screen. At least I hope I am. I can't actually see it. Yes, there it is. And there we go. It inserted clip 5 between clip 4 and clip 6. Let me undo that. I can do the same thing with this button. If I click this, it will insert whatever's in the preview window onto the timeline wherever the playhead is. But by inserting, it means it's going to push stuff out of the way, whereas an overwrite would replace what was already there. So I'll do my insert edit here, and it moves right over. Let me undo that. Now, if you're a click and drag fan, you can do this by clicking and dragging, but you're going to have to use the keyboard in order to change it from an overwrite edit to an insert edit. I'm going to have to hold down 2 modifier keys. So on my Mac, it's Command and Shift. On your PC, it would be Control and Shift. So I'm just going to click and drag this down onto the timeline like I did before, but I'm not going to turn it loose yet. Now I'm going to press Command and Shift, and you'll see that it gives me a display where it's opening a gap underneath wherever I put this clip. It's telling me it's going to insert it by making space. I just need to line my clip up perfectly with the playhead and turn loose. And once again, it has inserted clip 5 between clip 4 and clip 6. So either with clicking and dragging between the preview window and the timeline, or with clicking and dragging between the preview window and the program window, or with a few choices, these buttons or keystrokes associated with them here, there are several different ways to perform edits. Nothing is ever permanent, which is both fantastic and terrifying. Let's take a closer look now at manipulating things that are already on the timeline. This is called trimming.